March 2009. A meeting room in Beijing, no cameras, no press. A senior Chinese official slides a document across the table. The title, translated, Reducing Strategic Dependence on the US Dollar. Nobody outside that room knew this meeting happened. For 15 years, it stayed that way. Then, September 2024, a routine Chinese report reveals one number that should have stopped every financial market on Earth. 90% of all trade between China and Russia now happens without US dollars. Not 50%, not 70%, 90%. That document from 2009 was a plan, and that meeting was move one. There were 4 more after it. By the time you finish this video, you'll understand why 2026 isn't the beginning of de-dollarization. It's the end. Here's what they never teach you about falling empires. They don't collapse, they dissolve. Power doesn't disappear overnight, it seeps out. The same way you fall asleep, gradually and suddenly. One moment you're the most powerful thing on Earth. The next, you just aren't anymore, and nobody can point to the exact day it changed. The dollar is dissolving right now, without ceremony, without a single headline connecting. The dots. Meet Amanda. 38, small import business in Iowa, buys electronics from Chinese suppliers, ships to American manufacturers. She doesn't follow currency markets. She just needs stable prices and predictable costs. What Amanda doesn't know is that 5 decisions, made in Beijing between 2008 and 2024, are about to destroy the business she spent 11 years building. She'll find out. You need to see the moves first. September 15th, 2008, Lehman Brothers collapses. The global financial system freezes overnight. In Beijing, Chinese officials watch American TV. They see the Treasury Secretary on his knees, literally on his knees, begging Congress for $700 billion to bail out the banks that just destroyed the global economy. Americans lose homes, bankers keep bonuses, and China sees something else, something most people missed. China held over $1 trillion in U.S. Treasury bonds at that moment. They loaned America $1 trillion, and now they're watching the borrower almost collapse. Then print fake money to cover the damage. Imagine lending your life savings to someone, watching them gamble it away, then hand you back monopoly money with a straight face. That's 2008 from Beijing. In 2009, China quietly stopped adding to their U.S. debt holdings. No announcement, just stopped. Headlines, China still supports U.S. treasuries. True, they didn't dump, but they stopped. Building, the difference between I trust you and quietly opening an account at a different bank. 2008 didn't destroy the dollar. It destroyed something that can't be rebuilt. China's belief that America was too competent to fail. Once you lose faith in the priest, you don't just question the sermon. You start looking for a different church. But China didn't dump the dollar. That would have crashed their own economy. No, they did something far more patient, far more surgical. They built an exit in silence. For a decade. September 2013. China announces the Shanghai Free Trade Zone. Financial media. Minor economic reforms. Page 6. Nobody cares. What it actually was, the first brick in a parallel financial system built to make the dollar optional. Simple version, for decades, doing business with China meant converting to dollars first. The dollar was the mandatory middleman for every transaction on Earth. Shanghai said, what if we skip him? Buy Chinese goods, pay in yuan, sell to China, get paid in yuan. Dollar not required. Nobody used it at first, but China was patient in a way no Western government ever is. Better terms. Lower fees, faster settlement. 2015, 20% of China's trade in yuan. 2020, 30%. 2024, over 50%. Amanda got an email in 2021, her Shenzhen supplier offering a 2% discount for yuan payments. She ignored it. Too complicated. Filed it away. Forgot it. That email was the warning she needed. You don't kill the king by attacking him. You make him irrelevant. China didn't fight the dollar. They built a world where you simply don't need it. Amanda had the chance to see it coming. She looked away. So China has an alternative payment system. Smart, but not enough. Because the dollar isn't just a currency, it's a weapon. And China's next move was about making that weapon useless. October 1st, 2016. The IMF, the institution that has propped up dollar dominance since 1944, adds the yuan to its list of trusted global reserve currencies. For 70 years, that list had 4 names: dollar, euro, pound, yen. Now it has 5. This wasn't economics, it was permission. The IMF just told every central bank on Earth the yuan is legitimate, safe to hold. His name was Henrique, Chief Treasury Officer at Brazil's central bank. 2 weeks later, one sentence to his team, we're moving 4% of reserves to yuan, effective. Next quarter, no press release, 11 minutes to approve, multiplied across 70 central banks, trillions of dollars quietly walking out the door. Amanda felt it without understanding it. A client mentioned in late 2016 that his Korean supplier was quoting in yuan. Weird, right? He laughed. Amanda laughed too. Neither knew what it meant. Empires don't fall when enemies attack. They fall when neutral parties stop showing up. In 2016, the world's central banks quietly stopped being neutral. 3 moves, each one building on the last. Now the strategy shifts from building alternatives to breaking the original. Move 4 was about destroying the foundation itself. March 2022. Riyadh. MBS picks up a secure line. Xi Jinping on the other end. One question changes 50 years of financial architecture. What if you sold us oil in yuan? A pause. By December 2022, Saudi Arabia accepts yuan for Chinese oil. Since 1974, one rule held everything together. You want oil, you pay in dollars. Japan, Germany, Brazil, no exceptions. You needed dollars, which meant you held dollars, which meant you financed American debt whether you wanted to or not. That was the dollar's real superpower. Not the economy, not the military, oil. When Saudi Arabia accepted yuan, that chain broke. Amanda felt it in her margins. Shipping costs doubled. Component prices up 18%. She raised prices, lost 2 clients. She blamed COVID, supply chains, everything except what was actually happening. For 50 years, the dollar's power came from one sentence. If you want oil, you need us. China rewrote it. If you want oil, you have options. Options are how monopolies die. 4 moves, precise, patient. But move 5 is different from everything before it. The first 4 built the alternative. Move 5 made it irreversible. October 2024, BRICS launches a new cross-border payment network. Not a currency, a network. SWIFT is the plumbing of global finance. America controls it. Get removed from SWIFT, no international banking, economic death. Russia found this out in 2022. China watched and built an alternative. 40-plus countries already engaged. Brazil buys from India. Old way, dollars, SWIFT, convert again. 3 steps, US veto at every point. New way, direct transaction. 2 steps, no American involvement, no American override. The dollar rested on 2 foundations. Everyone needed it, and America controlled the pipes. Move 5 just destroyed the second one. The first is already cracking. When you lose the pipes, you lose the water. America just lost the pipes. It's now the part most people miss entirely. What makes China's strategy genuinely terrifying? It was never about replacing the dollar. That was never the plan. Currencies don't run on gold or oil. They run on belief. A dollar is worth $1 because enough people believe it is. The moment that belief wavers, everything shifts. Every BRICS headline, every yuan oil deal, every country joining the alternative network. Not just economics, a psychological campaign. China is planting one idea into every finance minister, every central banker on earth. The dollar's dominance isn't permanent. It's a habit, and habits can change. 2020, 73% of global reserves in dollars. 2024, 58%. Still dominant, but one direction, down. The British pound was the world's reserve currency for a century. 1945, 60% of global reserves. 1956, 11 years later, under 30%. Most of that collapse happened in 24 months. The dollar sits at 58% right now. History doesn't care whether we're ready. You've seen the moves, you understand the psychology, but none of it is real until you feel it. Let me show you Amanda's Tuesday morning. Amanda wakes up at 6:48 a.m. Her Shenzhen supplier sent a message overnight. Starting Q2, all invoices in yuan or euros. Dollar payments subject to 12% surcharge. She calls her bank. We're getting a lot of calls like this. The conversion rate has moved significantly. She opens her laptop, pulls up her margins. The business isn't viable at 12% surcharge, not at current conversion rates either. She closes the laptop, coffee going cold next to her. Outside, birds, traffic, her neighbor backing out of the driveway. Everything exactly the same as yesterday, except 11 years of work just became a math problem with no solution. She thinks about that email from 2021, the yuan discount she filed away. She thinks about the Korean supplier her client laughed about in 2016. She didn't lose her business because she failed. She lost it because she trusted that tomorrow would look like yesterday. No crash, no alarm bells, just a Tuesday morning where the math stops working. This isn't a prediction, it's a pattern. The pound fell exactly this way. The people who got destroyed weren't reckless, they were simply unprepared. The good news is, this pattern has happened before. And the people who saw it coming didn't panic. They didn't move to bunkers. They made 3 quiet moves before the crowd noticed. In 1944, when Bretton Woods made the dollar supreme, the smart money moved into hard assets, gold, land, businesses that produce real things, not paper promises. In 1971, when Nixon ended the gold standard and the dollar became pure faith of the people, who survived held two things: assets outside the financial system and skills that any economy needs, regardless of which currency is dominant. 3 things you can do today. 1, reduce pure dollar dependency, not everything, but some exposure to gold, foreign assets, or hard goods that hold value when paper loses trust. 2, build income that crosses borders. A skill, a service, something someone anywhere will pay for in any currency. 3, watch the signals. When U.S. interest payments exceed defense spending, when? More central banks quietly add yuan when your own suppliers start offering yuan discounts. Those aren't random headlines. They're the same signals Amanda ignored in 2021. 5 moves, 17 years, each one invisible in isolation. Together, the most patient dismantling of financial dominance in modern history. China didn't attack the dollar. They made it optional. And once something becomes a choice, it stops being a default. Not with a crash, not with a headline. The world won't declare the dollar dead. It will simply wake up one morning and realize it stopped being the default somewhere along the way. Most people won't remember when. Amanda will. China didn't win by fighting. They won by being patient while America was busy. The dollar won't die with a bang. One morning you'll wake up and feel it in your grocery bill, in your mortgage, in an email from a supplier asking you to confirm your preferred currency, just like Amanda did. The question isn't whether that morning is coming. The question is, will you be Amanda, or will you be ready?